Hello everybody, welcome to our survival game news weekly roundup. This week we are covering June 20th to June 26th, 2025, and we have quite a bit of news to go over. Quite a few games all apparently decided they wanted to all release a bunch of updates and everything in the same week, so let's dive right in. On June 20th, Ark released the Ragnarok Ascended map. So if you have played Ragnarok in the past, you're going to find that it is revamped for the Ascended version of Ark. That includes some new areas as well. They brought in some new islands. So you'll have, new kind of graphics and models that have been switched out, but also some new, like I said, new islands, new areas. So, for example, there's still some of the old places like the Scotland Isles, the sloped pines, misty rivers of the Alpine, stuff like that. The Redwoods expansion now has like a little. There's like, I say expansion, it's really not that big, but there's some redwood trees there now. There's a new kind of desert isles area, and basically they've kind of revamped these zones, brought some new fresh challenges to them, and all that. And of course, you have griffins on this map. They've also brought in the brand new bison, a new companion creature as well. So you have that, and they've also brought in a new boss arena, the Colossal Ice Wyvern. So if you take that down, you can actually get some legendary tech gear out of this fight, like the tech sword, the tech shield, and the tech light. And you'll also have some new resources like carrots, palm fronds, and lava crystals. There's also this kind of new geothermal hot springs area that grants soothing buffs, or apparently if you stay in there too long, can actually hurt you. So Ragnarok is back, and in theory it's better than ever. If you have been playing on this map, let me know what you're thinking about it, if it's better than the original over on Survival Evolved. Haven't jumped in yet myself, but I'm really excited to. But yeah, let me know what you guys are thinking on that. On June 26th, Aska had its animal husbandry update. So, smokers, those little fuzzy creatures, they're no longer just like these little fuzzy friends, sometimes annoyances. You can also raise them now in the brand new smoker pen. And you can apparently smelt them for fresh smelt, as they say, and turn that into aged cheese with another new kind of structure called Cheese Maker. So, there's that. With this update, they've also brought in a new happiness system. It's basically kind of gotten over a makeover, basically. So, your villager moods, they're a little bit more dynamic, they're meaningful, and obviously, if your village is happy, that means they are stronger now, too. They're more resilient. Hunters have also gotten a little bit smarter as well as bolder, so they might be, taking on a few more risks. You'll want to keep an eye out on them and definitely make sure you have maybe like your healing kind of items and all that set up just in case they decide to take on something that maybe they're not fully prepared for. So besides all that too, they've also brought in two brand new armor sets in the form of what they call a Huskarl armor as well as a plate armor set. And the plate armor being a little bit of the strongest of the two. And you'll notice there the UI has changed. They've brought in some more upgrades there. They've focused on performance and of course fixed some bugs as well. So have fun raising your smokers. Also on June 26th, Medieval Dynasty had a planetary update as well as the release of their Echoes of Nature DLC. So, again, Medieval Dynasty just keep putting out this content. It's absolutely crazy to me. The planetary update, this is, I guess, a long-requested update that really brings two major features. The first is the ability to plant trees, which is definitely something that I've wanted. It's very easy to kind of go through trees if you're cutting them down yourself anyway, and early on in the game you might cut down all the trees in your area just to build your village, and then you don't really have anything there to make your village pretty, aesthetic purposes. So very exciting that we can plant trees now. You can do so by using seedlings gathered while chopping wood, and the option to obviously the other feature, the other main feature here is the ability to move freely various constructions with your hammer's new move mode. So basically, if you have built a resource storage but you want to move it somewhere else, you can now do so with your hammer. So that is also really exciting. Makes moving villages, or just buildings in general, just so much easier, so much more efficient. They've also improved audio, got a few new UI sounds, and of course fixes and such as well. Now, besides all that, the very first DLC for Medieval Dynasty, Echoes of Nature, is out, and basically what this does, it adds more charm and detail to your world. The DLC lets you create beautiful gardens and decorate, the alleys and front yards of your buildings throughout your village. A lot of new decorations, basically, mostly focused on outdoors. So there's new kinds of tree decorations, shrubs, hedges, stone elements, a lot more. And the whole idea is to allow it to kind of blend naturally with the surroundings, and even change as the seasons come. So like if you put like a hedge down or whatever, it's going to look a little bit different depending on the season that you're in. So this is all just kind of beautify, and in my opinion, some really big quality of life changes as well, some updates. So amazing news out of Medieval Dynasty. On June 24th, Palworld had their Tides of Terraria crossover released, and it brought in like a number of new features and some items. So I guess we'll just go into what we all can expect from this crossover. The first is a Terraria dungeon. This is a unique dungeon that features enemies from Terraria. So if you've played that game, you might see some familiar faces in there. You can collect materials in this dungeon to create equipment from the world of Terraria as well. There's also Terraria equipment, so you have 6 new weapons, 7 new armor pieces from that world. The terrifying Moon Lord raid boss has appeared. So this is a new raid boss. The Moon Lord has invaded Palworld. You got to work together with your friends and pals to defeat the greatest threat the islands have faced. So if you're kind of like at that end game kind of tier, you might notice that this raid boss starts to appear. So get ready for that. So besides all that, they brought in some PS5 dedicated servers. So if you've been wanting to play a dedicated server on the PlayStation 5, you are now able to do so. They brought in fishing, so you can craft a fishing rod and bait to catch new pals. So basically, to start fishing, you just got to cast your rod in the waters where you can see fish shadows. There's a new salvage system where you can ride on water pals and use the fishing rod to salvage supplies at sea. You can collect new ores this way, where you basically salvage them from the ocean floor, which you can then use to strengthen your weapons. There's also some brand new islands for you to explore. 3, in fact, new types of islands. There's tropical islands, the iceberg island, and the shipwreck island. And you can indeed find some new pals that live on each of these new islands. So some new guys to catch and potentially, utilize in your bases. They've also brought in a new mission system where you can now find and accept missions across the Palpagos Islands. You can help the islanders, and you'll get rewards from those missions. So just a little something else to do in case you're running out of content. Zoe herself has a special mission. If you complete missions for her, you can earn her trust and recruit her as an ally. So I'm pretty curious to see the full extent of her allyship, if that means she's hanging out at your base, or if she's going to be a new kind of pal person that you can explore with or something. We'll have to see. But if you're a fan of Zoe, now she can apparently be even closer with you. There's a new pal trust mechanic too. The more time that you spend with your pal, the more trust you will gain, and stats will be increased as a result. So the weaker that a pal's original stats are, the greater the trust adjustment will be. So even weaker pals basically they're able to grow stronger with you. So if you have like that really low level, I don't know, Kativa that you just are really fond of, if you spend time with them and you keep kind of letting that trust increase, their stats will also reflect that. So you might get more of a use out of those guys. So that's pretty nice as well. And if you want, you can now sleep with your sleep. Let me rephrase this. You can sleep together with your pals. So after a hard day of farming and exploring, battling bosses, you and your pals can apparently sleep like in the same bed or something and rest together. So if you want some soft cuddles, there you go. There's also treasure maps that have been put into the game, so you can use these treasure maps to find the location of the hidden treasure and obtain valuable items. And somebody who loves treasure hunts like myself, that's pretty exciting. There's new enemy bases, so enemy factions now build bases just like players. They are on high alert and will defend it with their lives. But if you manage to raid them successfully, you can obtain new blueprints for buildings related to that faction. So if you really like a style, go ahead and destroy them, find the blueprints, and you might be able to start building a base that looks very close to their own. There's a settlement overhaul, so they've made settlements larger. Those are, again, those kind of settlements that you can find with a bunch of NPCs in them, and they tried to make them feel a little bit more lived in, so it's a little bit more immersive. You can also find a number of mission NPCs in these settlements now, too, so more of a reason to visit these and hang out and all that. The player level cap has been raised from level 60 to 65, so even if you've hit that endgame, the endgame post goals have moved a little bit beyond, so some reason to do some grinding, some leveling. There's also some new buildings. There's a PAL surgery table that, by using various implants, you can overwrite your PAL's passive skills, and you can also change the gender of your PALs as well, which is very helpful if you want to breed a certain PAL with another, and it's like, oh, I've got two guys or whatever. You can, change as needed to start, working on that breeding, getting the perfect PAL between them. There's a new fishing pond where you can relax and catch some fish in the comfort of your base. So even if you don't happen to live by the water, you don't have to travel too far to do that fishing. There's a hexolite quartz mine, so that's very helpful for me, because goodness knows hexolite can be pretty hard to get. So now you can just have your pals mine that for you. There's a large incubator where you can hatch multiple eggs at the same time. We love efficiency. There is a PAL box control device, which is a terminal that allows you to access your PAL box from anywhere in the base. So even if there's a raid coming and you happen to be like on the other side of your base and it's you don't have a lot of time, now you can just very easily get into your PAL box control and move things as needed, so that you're ready to go, ready to respond in a moment's notice. Now, I mentioned there's some new items that include some new weapons. There's a charge rifle, an energy shotgun, and an overheat rifle. There's also some weapons that are more geared towards like buffing or supporting your PAL rather than just doing strictly offense. So there's a boost gun and there's a PAL recovery grenade. So those are, again, they're meant to, like, I think they're meant to like heal your PAL or just kind of buff them. So you can play a support role and let your PAL shine. There's also a whistle and growth acceleration bell that has been added, as well as a bunch of new food recipes and a new arena. And this arena is a single player challenge mode. So I know they had the other arena out where you could play against other players. Well, now there's something, even if you're playing on your own, you can have some fun playing in that arena against other NPCs. So you could basically kind of raise your rank by facing off against the fierce warriors of Palpagos Island. And you can get rewards by doing that with the battle tickets basically to receive when you win. So a huge update from Palworld. Lots of exciting new things. Just makes that game even more enjoyable to play, in my opinion. Now, on June 24th, Sengoku Dynasty also had their Bushido update released, which is kind of like their new raid system. So how does this all work? Well, your Dynasty basically is going to draw the attention of nearby villains. And obviously, the more valuables in your storage and the more enemies you have in that region, the bigger the risk of a raid happening is. So if you want to lower that risk, you can defeat, some of these roaming enemies, or raise your security by employing guards. Just don't let your guard down, because as different events or seasons happen, they might impact your security or your whatever, which could then impact the risk that you have of being raided. So, but the good news is you will get 1 day's notice before a raid starts. There'll be this kind of like shady enforcer who will appear in your village, basically kind of asking you, politely anyway, for a small donation for, of course, protection. So you can pay up, and in theory, they'll go away. But if you don't pay up, or you just refuse, or you don't have the money, you can expect several waves of attackers who will try to raid your village the next day. So their goal here is definitely to fight your guards, destroy your defensive structures, capture your bell tower, and then loot your dynasty's storage. And that's all your storages as well. It's not just your general. It's going to be any storage they can get their hands on, they are going to try and steal items from. So once they've done that, if they are successful in doing so, they will try to run away with those stolen goods. Now, you still have a chance to stop them and retrieve the loot before they disappear out of your sight, basically. So it gives you a few ways to limit how badly this raid affects you. Now, obviously, if you're not into raids, there is a way to basically disable that in the game settings. So, best of both worlds for that. And they've also like added like a few other things with this update. So, for example, now you can remove enemy camps. So after you defeat an enemy camp in a region, you can build a special project to remove all structures and decorations from the area, and basically, free that place up if you want to build your own village there, which is really good. There's some, because they happen to be in like some pretty decent places. So, and not only that, but it's just annoying to have them on the map when you've defeated them. So, so you can do that now. You can also build some new special structures in your village. It's through the Way of the Leader perk, and that allows you to construct some structures that you maybe have encountered in the game. For example, you can build your own bridges now, which is really great for villagers and villages who are like beside, a river or some sort of body of water where, you don't want to be walking in the water all the time. You just want to make a bridge. You can also make a lighthouse too for aesthetic purposes, which is pretty cool. And they also have unlocked the ability to wear both a mask and a hat at the same time. So it no longer counts as one slot. It has its own little EQ slot, so you can wear them along with any kind of headwear. And that does come with a little bit of combat stat rebalances for masks to make them interesting as well on their own. So all of this, it was a huge week from a lot of games this week. Let me know what you're most excited about, because goodness gracious, I don't even know if I can pick. I mean, Palworld had some pretty good ones, I will say. But Medieval Dynasty, I'm a big fan of that game, so I always love when they get some new content. But I'll see you guys in next week for another Survival Game News Weekly Roundup. Until then, keep surviving and keep thriving.